Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So round two. Today, let's talk about the current FUD that still exists for Binance. Is Binance following in the same footsteps as FTX? And let's talk about some of the crypto that has been decimated over the last few days, more so than others. I do have, or I may have an explanation about that. And let's talk about good old Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary some more. So, welcome back, guys. Welcome. Round two had a little sound issue, but that has been resolved. So, Bitcoin is at 16.7, so a little bit lower than, of course, this morning. Or a little bit lower than yesterday morning, I should say. So, we're down from the top ever since Powell's meeting. We have come down and down and down and down. Hopefully we have found that footing, but there's still a lot of fear, a lot of FUD out there, right? Especially right now around Binance. And I would argue a lot of that FUD came from Kevin O'Leary. And yesterday I played a video for you guys, a short clips about he's just lying left and right. He now, the thing with lies is the more you tell them, the harder it is to keep track. So yesterday he was grilled on Squawk Box, asked why he flipped from such a bear to a bull. Was it because of the payment from FTX? And he's like, no. I got in 2018. Then they corrected him saying, well, you actually came on a show in 2019, right? Calling it garbage and crypto scams, right? So he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot, right? Someone sent me a follow-up video, and this may be the first time he actually admits when he actually bought Bitcoin and crypto. And do you know when that is? Well, let's listen. Let's see.
Holds crypto as the underlying, which is a complete reversal of what's occurred, prior to that. I mean, I remember in 2017, I'm disclosing now, I bought Bitcoin and Ether back then. I kept quiet about it. It wasn't a 3% weighting as it is for me now, but regulators, particularly here stateside, were not on board, and they're still not.
Do you hear that? This came out in 2021. I think most people forgot about this interview. I remember that. In 2017, he was still shouting left and right about how everything is a scam, right? So he didn't get into 2018. He didn't get into 2019. He got in all the way in 2017, still lying about it to this day for whatever reason. Again, he's telling so many lies, he's starting to forget what he has said in the past. So just want to start out with another lie from Mr. Kevin O'Leary. Now, going back to the Binance FUD, a lot of Binance FUD going on, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? You see this headline on CNBC saying the native BNB token is plunging, lowest level since July, which sounds really, really bad. And this is due to whether or not they're going to be solvent or they are solvent. Are they going to become insolvent? There's a massive amount of withdrawals, right? There's ties to FTX because now Kevin O'Leary and everyone else is saying that, CZ is a bad guy, kind of forced SBF out. They want to dominate the world, and this and that, right? So there's a lot of things going on. There's definitely a lot of withdrawals right now. So that's why CZ decided to post this. This is from Crypto Quant, kind of like a dashboard, proof of reserves, and also just show other metrics about Binance right now, just to show you how safe it is versus some of the other exchanges. So let's run through this real quick. I have to turn off my camera or it's go cut into it. Let me see if I could do that. I don't know where my camera is now. Let's see. Oh, here we go. First of all, this is still a little cut off, but this shows you basically the Bitcoin reserves on all the exchanges. And right now, as it stands, here we go. It's still a little cut off. Let me see if I can zoom, or let me see if I can move this over a little bit. Oops, that's not what I want to do. There we go. That's a little better. So you could see over there, Binance right now holds 30% of all the circulating Bitcoin on the exchanges. Not all circulating Bitcoin, but just on exchanges. It has surpassed Coinbase within the last year or so. So these two are absolutely behemoths. They're giants. They control 56% of the exchange reserves of Bitcoin, right? So even though there has been massive withdrawals, Binance is still leading the way. If you look at overall spot volume, this is just staggering. 79% of spot volume is now on Binance. This is spot though, not futures. Futures was led by FTX, but now obviously that's gone, and I don't know who's leading in futures. But spot volume, Coinbase takes about 11%. Binance takes 79%. So vast majority of traders are on Binance. In terms of their liabilities, here we go. Net liability balance, okay, 101 collateralization. Customer liability report balance, 97%. And an asset balance report, nothing. But overall, they're showing they are collateralized. Also, if you look at this is what I put, or at least a snippet of it in the thumbnail, okay? This is showing you the Bitcoin reserves, the Ethereum reserves, and stablecoin reserves. And you take a look at the top. Top is Binance, bottom is FTX. This gives you a really good picture of what a bad exchange with no assets, having a bank run looks like versus a good exchange with some minor withdrawals. Major differences. You could see how Bitcoin reserve on FTX dropped from 20,000 to 0 over here. Then you could see, well, Ethereum went from 346,000 to 0. And this is like literally overnight. And stablecoin balances from 690 million down to 0. Okay? That is what an insolvent exchange looks like. Even with the withdrawals now, if you look at it from the context of how much they went up, it's barely noticeable, right? It's a little bit. You could definitely notice over here, a little bit for Bitcoin, a little bit for Ethereum, and more so with stablecoins. But you could see the difference between a good exchange like Binance versus a bad exchange versus FTX, okay? So I think this is a pretty telling picture of what, like I said, a good exchange versus bad exchange. So is Binance heading the same path as FTX? No, they are not. Now, I will say, though, there is pretty significant withdrawal for the last month or so. Nansen has been keeping track. About 70 billion a month ago to 54.7 billion now, and I just, well, it went up a little bit, but 54 billion, 54.7, now it's 54.9, so it went up a little bit. That is a steep drop-off, though, but again, if you look at 55 billion worth of assets versus everyone else, it's still tenfold more than the next exchange, and it's more than every other exchange combined, okay? So I would say Binance is pretty safe at this point. Now, of course, things can change, right? If the bank run continues to happen, if the withdrawals, poor choice of words, if the withdrawals continue to happen and it turns into a bank run and we start seeing this go down rapidly to 50 billion next week, 40 billion the week after that, 30 billion the week after that, if we're seeing continuous trend where this keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping, then I would say yes. Then the concern is much greater. But as it stands right now, even with the withdrawals, I would say Binance is pretty darn safe, especially compared to the other exchanges out there. However, I've been telling you guys, right? If you don't trust Binance, you don't trust any exchange out there, go safeguard your own crypto. Go get a ledger, right? Go get a Trust wallet. Go get Arculus wallet, ROX wallet, any wallet that you want, right? Start safeguarding your own crypto so then you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, okay? So learn that. It's never too late. And I know I've been saying it. A lot of people still don't listen. But it's never too late to learn. Never too late to safeguard your own crypto. All right, so I did want to start out with that. Now, I do have another thing that I want to show you guys. Even though it seems like, this headline's like, oh, BNB plunges to the lowest level since July, right? But BNB has been one of the strongest crypto of this year despite the huge downturn, right? So you could see 24 hours down about 2.5%. And then last week about down 18%. 18% sounds bad. But if you look at it in context of some of these others, it made me wonder why, because you look at like Doge, for example. Doge has been absolutely decimated. Okay, fair. Some people will say, well, it's a meme coin. It makes sense. But I think it has a lot to do with what's going on Twitter, and I'll explain a little bit about that soon. But also, let me see. Someone said I got my camera off. It's okay. But someone also pointed out, well, you know what? What about these others? Like, for example, Cardano. Cardano is getting killed right now. And there's been no bad news about Cardano. Why is Cardano down 7% today, right? That's a huge drop-off. Same thing, Polkadot. Why is Polkadot down 7% today? A lot of these are getting absolutely murdered right now, okay? You go down a little bit, Stellar is getting killed right now. Near Protocol is getting killed right now. Filecoin is getting absolutely hammered, minus 21%, right? So what's going on with these? What's the commonality? Well, someone pointed this out, and that someone is Will Komet, and he's like, well, a lot of these, right, if you look at the charts, Ethereum Classic is another one, right? They're all tied to DCG. Okay, DCG is the parent company of Genesis and Grayscale. Grayscale has a ton of trusts, okay? And now the rumors are Grayscale is starting to sell off some of the crypto that they have because some of these trusts, quite frankly, no one cares about them right now. No one is buying a Horizon Trust or Stellar Lumens Trust, whatever, right? So it could be, and they're a big holder of Ethereum Classic. For whatever reason, Barry Schilber has always been into the Ethereum Classic. But a big theory is that they could be selling off to pay for the liability of Genesis. And Grayscale CEO, DCG's CEO, Barry Schilber has been gone. He's been gone. He's not heard, not one tweet, not one peep on Twitter since a month ago. So he's staying quiet. That's the thing about a lot of these leaders. It seems like they spend nothing but it seems like they do no work and they spend all of their time on Twitter, right? And sometimes they're very cocky about it when things are good. And Barry Schilber used to be on all the time until now. Not one peep. So he's probably feeling the pressure of Genesis right now and probably a little bit with Grayscale too. And in case you're wondering, well, I don't see a Cardano trust on here, right? So what are you talking about? Well, they do have something called the Digital Large Cap Fund, which is quite big, $162 million, right? And within, they have some of these others like Cardano and Solana and Avalanche and Polygon. Small percentage, but they do have exposure as well. So the working theory is Grayscale may be up to something right now. We don't know. This is just speculation. But there could be something going on between Grayscale and some of these crypto projects that are selling off more so now than their peers. Okay, so just to throw that out there. And also, as for Solana, they suffer a little bit more too because I covered this. One of their DeFi exchanges, Radium, was hacked for $2 million, right? Not the biggest hack, but it did. And with everything else going on, not helping Solana's case. So that's maybe another reason why. All right. Outside of this, are there positive news? Well, I guess this is positive. The Bank for International Settlements new policy allows banks to hold 2% of their reserves in cryptocurrency. Interesting. Interesting. So they basically announced that, yeah, before we allow banks to hold 1% of their reserves in crypto. Now we're going to up it 100% to 2%. I guess that's something. That's something. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this, but it's something. Okay. What else is there? Well, in case you want to know if Bitcoin is ever going to go back up again, right? You just have to look at history. You just look at history. The first halving event, afterwards, there was an 86% drop, right? And it took 1,064 days from that bottom point to the next top. Okay? And it's pretty darn consistent. And you can see it's 1,428 days from that first bottom to the next bottom, right? And then from that next bottom, that was end of 2018, it took 1,064 days to get to the next top. Identical, right? And leading up to the halving event, from 2018 all the way to 2020, it was about 51% off from its all-time high. And the prior cycle, back in 2016, it was about 45% off from its previous high, right? So you look at where we are now. We're down about 82%, very similar to the 86% drawdown and 84% drawdown, right? We're at that point where we are 1,064 days away from the next top if you're using prior history, right? But you also look at the bottom point, that 428 days from the first cycle, and then 1,421 days for the next cycle, right? We're like 7 days away from that. We're 7 days away from that, right? And then you look at the days leading up to the next halving. I mean, this lays it out as perfectly as possible. So if we're mimicking, we don't have to follow identically, but if we're mimicking the previous cycles, this is the time to be buying. This is the absolute bottom before we start moving upwards. And leading up to the halving event, if we're somewhere close to that negative 50% from all-time high, that would mean that we're going to go back up to about $34,000. $34,000, that would be leading up to March or April of 2024. And then afterwards, we follow the same kind of trajectory in terms of gains, right? That could put Bitcoin up to well over $300,000 if we follow the same kind of growth that we have seen in previous past, right? So this is an awesome, awesome chart showing Bitcoin and showing the correlations, showing the 4-year cycle, how it has acted before. Now, we could argue that things are different now. Bitcoin is much bigger. There's more macro stuff. We're going through recession, right? There are a lot of other factors. But until disproven, right, we just don't know. The 4-year cycle could continue forward and do what it has always done. And until proven otherwise, that's still in play. So that's something to look forward to. What else? Tether. A lot of the other FUD being spread right now is about Tether being phased, maybe become insolvent. Right now, they're trying to prevent that from happening, saying they're going to stop lending out directly to customers. I guess there's a lot of loans, right, that customers, I didn't know this, almost everyone gets Tether through exchange. I don't know of anyone that really goes directly to Tether, right? But when they say customers, doesn't mean retail investors. It means the big institutional boys, right? And if they want to borrow, they can. So the thing is, Tether is supposed to be backed one-to-one with cash, but they have taken loans where they have deposited other things besides cash, right? So they were collateralized by lots of what the company called extremely liquid assets, that could be easily sold for dollars in event of default, okay? Supposedly. But even they are a little bit concerned about that, which is why they're going to stop lending out their own coins for these extremely liquid assets, which could be a number of things. Stocks, bonds, treasury notes, you know, one can guess, right? Hopefully not things like houses or cars, you know, things that have gone down a lot in recent times, right? So we don't know. But this I guess is good that they're stopping this, right? But overall, Tether is still in a very iffy place, especially if you look at the history of iFinix, the parent company of Tether, how they started, the whole history behind it. Really, really shady stuff. Really shady stuff. All right, last thing is, well, I didn't mention about Dogecoin before, but you got to talk about Elon. Elon restores the banned accounts of journalists for doxing him. Okay, that's according to Elon. So these journalists basically covered this one guy who's been tracking Elon's jet. And recently Elon, you know, supposedly one of his cars that was carrying his kid around, you had some crazy guy jump on the hood of the car. He got really scared, so he banned that guy for doxing his private jet and anyone that covered that story and pointed to that, right? But a lot of these journalists were arguing, we just covered a story, we linked to this guy's account, which has been banned, so we didn't really do anything else, right? But because the EU and everyone is coming out and saying, well, this is kind of dangerous that one guy gets to control anything now that goes on in Twitter. I mean, you think about it, it is his company. He can't do it, right? But there's so much scrutiny around Twitter now. He decided to unban them, right? Unban them. Even Vitalik was saying that this is path of authoritism. I don't even know how to say it. Authoritative. Okay, basically, it's a path of Elon becoming king. But he has gone away from that. Now, something else about Twitter is, I mean, this freedom of speech thing is quite tricky, right? But also, Elon is burning cash, really burning cash left and right. Recently, it came out that he sold another $3.6 billion worth of shares out of the blue. No one knows why. People are speculating it's because he had to take out loans that basically required him, he got margin called. Basically, those loans require him to put down more collateral, right? Because Twitter stock or Twitter itself has been going, or I'm sorry, Tesla stock has been going down so much, so he's getting margin called. Tesla stock has gone down more than 50%, right? Just like Bitcoin guys. Bitcoin guys that put in, you know, a ton of Bitcoin when it was at 40,000, right? They took out a loan. It goes down half. You're going to have to put in collateral. So that's why I've always said don't do that. You're basically leveraging yourself, and it's too risky. So it seems like Elon did that with Tesla stock to be able to borrow money. So he had to sell to put down collateral. But now it's looking so desperate. He's looking to sell, you know, private Twitter shares because he needs new funds. He already put in like 40-something billion of his own money into it. He took private funds, and now it's been reported that he needs to sell shares to even raise more money. That's how costly this has been for him. Even the richest person on earth is starting to feel the heat of this, right? So this is starting to look like not a good business move so far, right? But again, Elon, with all his companies, always seemed like that. You know, SpaceX at the beginning, they were about to go bankrupt, right? They pulled through. Tesla looked like they were going to go bankrupt many times. They pulled through, right? So with Twitter, maybe it's going to be the same situation. It looks very dire before they come back. Who knows? But why this is important is, I think this hope that Twitter, you know, in its, or at least with Elon's plans of making Twitter into like a super app, right? A lot of hope and speculation that, you know, he's going to bring in cryptocurrency, especially do something with Doge. I still think something will happen, but seeing how dire it is right now, right, with all this stuff that's happening, I don't know how much he's thinking about integrating Doge at this point, which is probably the reason why Doge has been selling off greatly recently too, right, along with everything else. I mean, Doge is still sitting in top 10, still above Cardano and Polygon, so that's quite amazing, right? But still, they've been selling off more, and I do think it's a lot due to this. There's just a lot of people that's just not sure what's going to happen with Twitter and what Elon's, you know, plans are, right? So that's it. That's it. All right, let's do some Q&A. Internet guy says Elon has too many feelings tied to Twitter. He needs a real manager CEO. I agree with that. I agree with that. I do feel like Elon is too emotionally vested in Twitter, and now it's just too late. But he needs to just be the chair board or something, and let someone else run day-to-day stuff. And stay off Twitter too. You know, I just got done saying how a lot of these guys seem to spend all their time on Twitter. Elon is one of those guys. He's like tweeting out like 10 times a day. You know, the thing about Twitter is, and I could share this from my own experience, once you have a large following, it's very addictive, right? You feel like, man, every tweet you get, well, these days, not so much for crypto, but before, you know, every tweet, you know, you get 1 million people responding, right? You seem like, yeah, you're so popular, you're so cool, right? And I bet you get that euphoria every time you tweet, and it makes you want to tweet more. And I feel like most people on Twitter is addicted to that. And I feel like Elon is also addicted to that, right? Like, you get such a mass number of followers, like millions, right? And every single thing that you tweet out, it doesn't matter if it's about Twitter. It could be a dog, it could be a costume, it could be what you're eating or drinking, right? You get that euphoria because you're hoping that you're going to get all this good responses. So one of the reasons why I'm off Twitter is because I don't need that. Anyways, just throw that out there. All right. Scrolling through. Someone is asking if the Exodus wallet is safe. I can't say 100% because I have used it in the past and it was hacked before. So, but that was many, 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 many years ago. It's been many years. So I know a lot of people ask about them, use them. If you use your treasure in conjunction with Exodus, then yes, it is. But if you're just using Exodus itself, I'm not so sure. Serge says, Tesla screwing over his Tesla people. They are in pain right now. I'm hoping to buy under 100. Yeah, Tesla stockholders are really, really pissed off. You know, if you look into groups, you know, the ones that were most bullish have now turned most bearish. All right, now I'm starting to catch up here. MTMD, I don't disagree with you. I totally get it. No one likes to have their location docs live, right? No one. Especially when it comes to themselves, right? But, you know, Elon has done this before. I think he tried to get people to dox the person that jumped on the hood of his car, right? So it's a little bit hypocritical. Like, you know, I'm sure everyone was rooting for SBF to get doxxed, right? So, yes, it's great. Like, you can, you know, when it's not you, everyone's like, yeah, let's go dox this person. But when it is you, then, of course, you don't like it. I know. I get it. I get it. It's a conundrum. Everyone likes to do something that doesn't involve themselves, I guess, right? I get it. He controls Twitter. It's his. He could do whatever he wants, but it's just going against what he was saying before about freedom of speech, right? But when it comes to his own family's safety and his own safety, I totally get it. When a stock gets delisted, what happens to the money invested in a stock? It gets returned. As long as they're not bankrupt. If they just go private. Let's see if I missed anything here. Crypto got ahead of itself. Adoption, then innovate. It's always like that. Every cycle, it's like that. Every cycle, it gets ahead of itself, and then it comes back down, right? But innovation is still happening. You look at what has happened since 2021 to now, the growth of DeFi, it's tremendous. Growth of DeFi, DeFi didn't exist in 2017, the last cycle. I mean, you could argue, oh yeah, there were DEXs, but no one used them. None. No one staked in liquidity pools. No one trusted them. No one traded directly off from their ledger. You know, the evolution of DeFi has been vast. And there's more. There's more that's coming. Rob is asking if a random phrase is entered and it happens to be yours, they will have access to your funds. Yes. But the chances of that, just go do the math. It's astronomical. You're more likely to probably win the lottery than to guess a right recovery phrase. But if you happen to, then yes, you will access. I think everyone's trying to access Satoshi's wallet, right? Think about how long people have been trying to crack it and get access to it, and it has not been done. So it's not easy. Me, Kevin is so mad at Elon. I mean, he made a lot of money from Tesla, so I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be surprised, right, at this point. FUD cannot last. More holders and cold storage. I mean, the exchange reserves have been dropping like a rock ever since 2022, and that's good. More people are holding their own crypto. More people are still coming in because the number of addresses still go up, right? So I know some people will think, well, the exchange reserves are dropping because people are simply selling out. Well, that doesn't make sense because the wallet addresses continue to go up. So it shows not only people are coming in, but they're also buying and taking off the exchanges. It's starting to happen already. So that's great. That's great. DeFi is decentralized. The team holds 90% of the coins. Are you saying it's not decentralized? What do you mean? Yeah, then then you should not be involved or buy tokens from a project that holds 90% of the coins. People have multiple hot wallets, yeah, but how many are you actually going to create? I mean, I have like at least a dozen, right? But it's like I'm not like so bored I keep creating new ones every single day. The odds of guessing someone's 12 passphrase of random words has to be in the quadrillions. And think about it, like someone like Ledger is 24 words, not 12. 12 is an impossibility already, but to guess 24, I mean, it's more likely that a meteor, you know, full of gold is going to crash into your backyard. You know, it's not going to happen. How can crypto be universally accepted if it keeps fluctuating in value? If I am a merchant, I can easily lose money unless I immediately switch crypto to fiat. That's what most people do. That's what most merchants do. It gets converted to cash right away. There's nothing wrong with that. But of course, they can decide to keep it and add it to their balance sheet if they wanted to. But most merchants just convert it immediately. Strike app does that. Cash app does that. What do you think about a new Ledger Stacks? I mean, it looks really cool. It's pricey, but it's probably the coolest looking hardware wallet. Once it comes out, it'll be the coolest hardware wallet there is. You know, the e-ink screen, that's genius. Like, no one else does it. It's very efficient with energy, you know, with energy usage. And you could do a lot with the screen. You could display your NFT, you know, display what you're holding. You could stack it up like a book. I don't know why you would need many of them. I mean, you could separate your crypto holdings, but you know, you could put everything on one. So I don't even know why you need to stack them for multiple, you know, with multiple wallets. But what if Ledger goes down? You use the recovery phrase and you enter into a new wallet and you recover. Michael Saylor just been seen in tears. Something big has happened. Where are you getting this from, Ben? Was he doing an interview or something, or are you just making that up? Michael Saylor, you know, is probably feeling the heat too. You know how Elon had to sell off Tesla stock to, you know, put down more collateral because of the loans he took? I'm sure MicroStrategy has to be doing that too. He bought so much Bitcoin at top, and unfortunately he was, you know, putting down Bitcoin. He started putting down Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin, right? And he told a lot of people to do that. And, you know, in retrospect, of course, that's a horrible idea. And I've been saying that for many, many years. Don't put down your collateral. You know, this happened in 2021 too when everything was going up. I told people, don't do it. People are like, you know, for sure, it's easy money. You put down your collateral, borrow against it, and you could buy more crypto. And since that crypto keeps going up, just rinse and repeat. Put it down more and then borrow more, and then you go into this pattern, right? And it seemed like it was easy money, right? Until it wasn't. And until things started coming down, right? So that's just over leveraging. So hopefully that doesn't happen to MicroStrategy, or hopefully even if it does, they have enough to put down more collateral, right? Wasn't Saylor go buy more? Yeah, I don't know what happened. He was supposed to sell $500 million worth of stock to buy more Bitcoin, but this is obviously the worst time to be selling stock because MicroStrategy has been absolutely decimated. And again, look at CNBC, right? CNBC is just like trying to spread more and more and more FUD about Binance right now. And you know what? I'm trying to reassure you guys that that Binance is no FTX, but I mean, the FUD just keeps going. Anyways, to look how MicroStrategy, you know, it got killed on Friday, went more down in the after hours. And I believe all of the stock gains that they had over the last 2 years basically wiped out. They're at the same level as October of 2020. If they go down a little more, then literally the entire gains that they had of 2021 will be wiped out. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Kevin O'Leary's nose actually grows during the CNBC interview. I don't know if you guys watched this because I showed at the beginning, but he admits it here.
Complete reversal of what's occurred, you know, prior to that. I mean, I remember in 2017, I'm disclosing now, I bought Bitcoin and Ether back then. I kept lying, which is a complete reversal of what's occurred, you know, prior to that. I mean, I remember in 2017, I'm disclosing now, I bought Bitcoin and Ether back then. I kept quiet about it. It wasn't a 3% weighting.
You can't even keep track of the years anymore. You can't keep track of when he bought it because he's lied so much about it that he can't even keep his story straight anymore. So, yeah. All right, guys. So, to conclude, stay strong. There's a lot of FUD out there. There's a lot of fear out there, right? But stay strong, my friends. Binance is no FTX. I showed you guys why today. Also, Grayscale, maybe they have something to do with some of the weakness, right? But there's still a lot of goodness in this space. And if we're using history as an indicator, right, good things are about to happen. So, all right, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I'll have, I don't know, another video for you guys later on. All right? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.